Good morning, card community. It's RJ back with another video, so let's get to it. This week, it's the week leading up to my 500 subscriber giveaway, so I'm going to forego any trivia questions and prizes only because I'm going to do it on Sunday, the 500 subscriber giveaway video, and I don't want to be distracted by having to do a trivia giveaway at the same time. So apologize for those people who love my trivia and prizes, but this week we'll be done sans prizes and trivia, okay? But we still will have random Mike Schmidt items and random baseball items and all around card community awesomeness. So let's get to that. Random Mike Schmidt and random baseball items will be wrapped into this video because it is obviously a face-to-face video, something I don't normally do. But in this particular case, I'm doing this because it's VR that I'm doing for somebody else's channel. In fact, I'm doing a dual VR. There are two channels out there right now whose request blends into the exact same things that I'm going to show. So let me do the little backstory real quick. Shout out to John, Boggs Fan. I was watching John's channel a few days ago, and he was uploading a VR for Sammy Thunder. Congrats to Sammy. Sammy is a new YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame member, and he is at 3,000 subscribers right now, and he has asked that we do a VR for him. He has asked for us to show off some oddball items from our favorite athlete. Who is our PC person? Who do we like the most in the card community? The player that we're most akin to, and obviously for me that's Mike Schmidt. Now Sammy has also said we should in order when we do the video for him, he wanted us to wear a t-shirt if we had one from Scott over at Reindeer Studios. Shout out to Scott, Reindeer Studios, or any other kind of paraphernalia that Scott created that we have. Unfortunately, I don't have anything. I really don't. But one thing Sammy reminded me about was that Scott does has a lot of things on there. But since I'm such a Schmidt fanatic and whatnot, I thought to myself, I really don't want to just buy some random thing. I don't particularly like to buy random baseball things unless they're Schmidt related or Phillies related or whatnot. So I'm actually, since Sammy put the notion in my head, I actually reached out to Scott to commission an original piece of art for my collection. I've reached out to Scott. Scott responded. Essentially, I'm on the list. He's got a number of things he's working on. So somewhere down the line, hopefully by the end of this year, I'll be able to show off a really cool item that Scott has created for me. I'll let you know how that progresses if there's anything to talk about. But again, Sammy wanted us to show off oddball items in our collection of our favorite player. So that's the first VR I have to do. The second one, I was watching Darren over at Return to Collecting. Shout out to Darren, Return to Collecting, big Nolan Ryan fan, obviously. And Darren was doing a video for a channel I was not very familiar with called Brent Richards Collects. Brent is also at 500 subscribers. Shout out to Brent. Take a look at his channel. Every channel I'm mentioning today will be linked below, so you'll be able to find it. But Brent wanted us, he said, well, since he's at 500 subscribers, 500 is a magic number with respect to the 500 Home Run Club. So he wanted us to show off, or just to mention, he didn't even want us to, it's not even necessary to do a VR for his contest. All he wanted you to do was go to the content, to the video of his contest, his 500 subscriber video, which I'll link below, and just leave a comment in the description there, a comment just telling him who your favorite 500 Home Run Club member was. I did that, but I'm also going to show it off. Obviously, it's Mike Schmidt, so I can use oddball items of Mike Schmidt to show off for Brent's VR there. So it's a twofer for me, and I will, put it out there for those guys. Well, let me get to it right away. So to start with, for Brent, I got a big table here of all my stuff. So to start with Brent, here is a Mike Schmidt card specifically honoring his 500 home run club membership. This is a card from 2000, I believe 2001 actually. Topps produced this for the Post Cereal Company. So in your collection of, in your boxes of Post cereals, you could get one of these cards. The boxes are pretty cool because they have card images of these cards all over the boxes. So if you're a super collector of a person, you do want to get some of these boxes too. Now, at one time I did have some of these boxes, but I no longer do in my collection. But this is my oddball item to celebrate Mike Schmidt being a member of the 500 Home Run Club from 2001. It's a set of cards. There were 10 in the set honoring various members of the 500 Home Run Club. Obviously, by this time, there were at least, I don't know, probably close to 15 or 16 members of the 500 Home Run Club, but only 10. I'm sorry, actually it was 8. I'm looking at the back. This is number 7 of 8, so there's only 8 people in this little set. So that is my VR right there in its entirety for Brent. But onward with some oddities in my collection for Sammy Thunder. So I apologize, this is probably going to be a long one, but I know we all like to see really cool things of other people's collections, so bear with me. So this one is from 1989, one of the classic game cards, but it is the purple version with Mike wearing the, since it's March, he's wearing the St. Patrick's Day green uniforms that the Phillies do every year. Even, I know the Reds famously would wear green uniforms on St. Patrick's Day down in spring training. So this is always a great image of Mike Schmidt for the Phillies fans. Some people actually will wear these green uniforms to games. It's really neat. So that's a nice little oddball item in my collection, honoring Mike Schmidt. Another one, going to piggyback on a lot of things that John over at Boggs Fan talked about in his videos, but he talked about what were called Broder cards. So back in the late 80s, there were a number of photographers who used unlicensed images that they had taken as photographers or professional photographers, and they would use them to produce card sets. Now, mostly these were not necessarily card sets. They were advertising pieces for these photographers. They would show you that they had these images available for sale, and they would produce card sets for that purpose. Well, this particular one isn't necessarily by Rob Broder, or I know there was another guy, something Christopher, I think, but anyway, this one is from something called the Indiana Blue Sox Inc., and it was at a 60 card. It's a 60 card set. I always thought to myself, out of all the different sets, because a lot of these Broders, there were a set of cards, 10, 20, 50. They were numbered on the back, one of whatever, series 2, 1, 2, 3, whatever. But the Blue Sox, the Indiana Blue Sox was really, I just liked the way the back looked, the old Gothic font or whatever. And in the back of my head, I want to buy a set. But these are not usually available in set format. You'd have to buy each card individually. And the cards, when you include shipping, are going to be anywhere from $5 to $10. And I just don't fancy myself spending $600 to get a set of cards that are really basically worthless. So I keep thinking about it, but not wanting to do it. But this is a really cool little oddball card in my collection. I have many Broders in my collection. That's just one I wanted to show off to you. Now, John also mentioned some of the discs that you find on your players. Here is one from 1975. Little blue disc of Mr. Schmidt. You can see this is the MSA. The fair airbrushed logos, because they didn't have license from baseball, just from the Players Association. This is the Burger Chef card, really cool one. It says werewolf, as in where are you kind of thing, but I don't know anything about the franchise called Burger Chef. I don't know anything about their mascot, the werewolf, but a really cool little oddball disc. In fact, I did not have this. This was gifted to me by another member of the YouTube community. Forgive me, I cannot remember at the moment which card community individual sent this over, but that's how I acquired this, by the kindness of others. Really cool item. Another one, John talked about this one. There's a product out there called Talking Baseball. Now, I have the Mike Schmidt Talking Baseball package, but I also have the card that came with it. Now, what's interesting about this one is there was a similar card issued, and I don't know how that was distributed. These ones came in those packages. This one, which looks very similar, I don't know what that came in, but you don't often see this one. You'll see this one with the photo image of your star players all the time, but the artistic rendering version, you don't typically see that one. So that's quite the oddity, and I'm happy to have both of these in my collection. Similarly, the famous discs that everybody's familiar with are, the Crane potato chips discs, the MSA discs, the Pepsi Cola glove discs. They all looked exactly the same on the front, but the back was different. But there's a very big caveat to these as well, is these discs came 2 years and 2 years only, pretty much, 1976 and 1977. And interestingly, a couple of the vendors, what you would get is a blank back disc. So this disc right here, this is from 1976. On the back, it would be blank. And whoever the vendor is, MSA produced the discs, Michael Schichter Associates, and they would sell these. They would market these to any kind of product out there as a way to advertise. And that sometimes they would put the advertisement on the back. Sometimes, a couple times, the company would order a blank set of discs and use their own stamp and stamp the disc on the back. Well, this one from 1976 is for Dairy Isle. What's interesting, and why I point out that there are discs released in 76 and 77, is because this is a 1977 disc. Dairy Isle. So Dairy Isle is one of those manufacturers that did discs both years. So if you are a super collector and you want to get them, you want to make sure you get all the releases that are. In fact, finding blank back discs, if you're a super collector, you want to get blank back discs as well. I have a 1976 blank back. I have been unable to track down a 1977 Mike Schmidt blank back. That is still on my list of things to do. Another kind of duplicate card, I've shown this off many times before, from 1987, Boardwalk and Baseball, Mike Schmidt. What's unique about this one, not that there's anything particularly unique, this was a box set issued by by Topps for a product or a company called Boardwalk and Baseball. I don't know if that was like an amusement park or a restaurant or something. I don't really know what Boardwalk and Baseball was, but there's a variety of this that's almost impossible to find, and the variety or the variation is no slash in the middle between the two B and B. The no slash variation is much difficult to find, very, very difficult to find. And I was able to snag this one. And what's interesting about this is when it came up on the bay, the individual who was selling it made a point of saying, make sure you understand this has a significant crease in it. And you can see going right down there, right down this side, a thick crease as if it was folded over. The thing is, I don't care. I had never seen one for sale before. It's almost impossible to find these no slash versions. So that's quite the oddity. The regular one is common. The no slash one is almost impossible to find. Another thing John showed off for Wade Boggs was one of the Grenada stamps. And I will show off a whole sheet here. This is a Mike Schmidt sheet of stamp, not just Mike Schmidt, but this is one of the sheets from Grenada, the island nation of Grenada. In fact, a lot of the Caribbean islands make money by producing these kind of postage stamps that they sell to collectors for all kinds of topics. This obviously is baseball related, and there's a number of ways to get these stamp sets. I have every stamp set there is. I have the books that sometimes came with them. I've got an individual Mike Schmidt stamp, but I have all of the stamps. I have a very large baseball stamp collection as well. But this is the Grenada one, the sheet with Mike Schmidt in the middle. And like I said, I do have an individual stamp. Here's something that if you were a kid in the 70s, you remember fondly. What you see here is, in fact, an iron-on. So this was an iron-on created by the Quaker Company for Quaker and inserted into various Quaker cereals back in the day. But when we were kids, still to this day, I suppose, all your kid cereals came with something inside. There was always prize in the box. And one year they put out iron-ons. When we were kids, your white T-shirt, these iron-ons were available in everything. You could get iron-ons for everything. And you take it to your mom, and it even tells you how to do it down here. I'm flipping around here. There's instructions on how to do an iron-on. Every kid in my generation had multiple T-shirts that we had done iron-ons with. But this is my Mike Schmidt iron-on from Quaker Food Products. It has to be somewhere in the mid-70s. I don't know exactly. But very cool oddball item. A couple more. Another little cool thing. In 1984, I remember Top stickers had been around for a long time, but in 1984, Mike Schmidt was the face on the packaging. It's a foil version of his sticker right there. But it wasn't just Topps doing it. Topps' OPG sister release up in Canada, also had a sticker package. So I have both the Topps and the OP sticker packs, both unopened. So I'm very happy to have this in my collection, and unopened packages of stickers from 1984, both the Topps and the OPG version. Very happy to have that in my collection. A couple more things, hope you don't mind, but I enjoy showing off these oddball items. One of the things John showed off several versions of was the Donruss Action All-Stars, what they're called, for 1983 up through about 1988. They created oversized cards, approximately 3x5, that were issued in separate packs, a separate product release, and it had about 60 or 66 stars of the day. Topps issued, from 1984 through 1986, Topps issued what they called the Super card, Topps Supers, and essentially these were 5x7 versions of the exact same card in the base set, but again, larger. So here is the 1984 Mike Schmidt Super. You can see it's a much bigger card size. I'll throw up a random card next to it. So this is a standard size card compared to my Mike Schmidt version. So they did this 3 years, 1984, and they just mirror the base card exactly, 1985 and 1986. I have full sets of the 84 one. I think I still need to get a full set of 85 and 86. That is something that is just hasn't been a priority of mine, but something I want to do. But this is another style, another little oddity. Now, something that's an oddity simply because of print run. I didn't want to show off too many of those because to show off one of one and call it an oddity is a little kind of cheating. But these are short prints from Topps 2000 and not 2000, 2020. And they're the oversized box toppers, very limited print run. In fact, this one is out of 10. So it is a sepia version of the short print base. So card number 519 and 519 in the base set of Topps in 2020 with some Phillies player. But the SP version obviously was Mike Schmidt, and I have that base card in my set. But this is a box topper oversized card. And if you look down there, You can see it is out of 10. 7 out of 10. All right. Hard to come by these. And I have something from the update set as well. Another oversized box topper. One of the insert sets in 2020 was these Decade Best cards. And I have this one in the base set, but this is the oversized box topper again, and it is also 7 out of 10. So really cool, playing off the supers from the mid-'80s. Really cool versions of super size cards that they did recently. So those are all the cards, but I do have a couple products I wanted to show off that are very hard to find. So the first one is a pen, Mike Schmidt facsimile autograph pen, produced by the Parker Company in the mid-'80s. They had pens, and interestingly, the way I got this, and I actually got this in person years ago. So one of the stores in Philadelphia, like a department store, I want to say it was Macy's, but it might have been Bloomingdale's, it might have been some other department store, was having a signing with Mike Schmidt, and you had to, in order to get an autograph in order to get a signature, you had to buy this pen. For every pen you bought, you got a ticket to get an autograph by Mike Schmidt, and I bought 2 that day. I still remember it vividly. There you go. I actually have 1 or 2 extras of this. So if there is a Mike Schmidt fanatic out there, and I'm a diehard Mike Schmidt fanatic, I'm not just going to give this away to some guy who kind of likes the Phillies or kind of likes Mike Schmidt. I want some other diehard collector. I think Ray from Philly already has one of these. But if there's any other Philly Mike Schmidt fanatic fan out there who wants one, give me a shout out, okay? Another awesome Mike Schmidt item I have. I've shown this off before, but it's so cool. This is trying to find if there's a year. There's no year, but it looks like it's in the mid-'80s. An orange baseball from the Franklin Company that Mike Schmidt is the advertiser for. Just a standard baseball made in Taiwan. It's the Glow Bright model. I just thought this was fantastic looking. I'm so glad I have it. Still sealed, obviously. But very, very cool item. Very cool oddball item in my collection. 3 more things to show off. So the first one, 1987, or is it 1986? It's 1986, actually. No, it is 1987. 1987, the Kraft Company came out with cards, and it was like on the back of Kraft, they called it Home Plate Heroes. If you know the cards, I have the whole set. I've shown it off before. These were attached to the box of a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese. And to this day, you'll see the singles, and sometimes you'll actually see the panels from the box. But I happen to have a complete box, still intact, still sealed. Kraft macaroni and cheese dinner. And on the back, there it is, Mike Schmidt with Donnie Baseball. So this is one of the things. I found this at the Philly show a couple of years ago, and the guy actually had about 5 or 6 of these. I was so thrilled I snagged it real quick, and it wasn't even that crazy. I thought maybe the guy would be like $100 or something. No, it was pretty inexpensive. So maybe they're not as rare as I thought, but I was thrilled to have it added to my collection. Another thing I've shown off before, you can see this occasionally come up for auction, but not too often. But it is an artist's casting of Mike Schmidt's actual hand. So it is a plaster bust of Mike Schmidt's hand, and he's holding an autographed Mike Schmidt ball. It's got the World Series ring on it. I don't know if he was actually wearing the World Series ring when the casting was done, but it's a fantastic piece in my collection. Obviously, very much an oddball thing. So that is a really cool item. Lastly, this is the most prized Mike Schmidt collection thing I have in my collection. in that it is a one-of-one, incredibly unique. Can't be duplicated, could be duplicated, but shout out to somebody I know. So I have told this story before because I have shown this item before. I have a relative who owns a candle shop up in the Pocono Mountain region of Pennsylvania. For those of you who are local to Pennsylvania, you know that the Pocono region up in Pennsylvania is notorious for weekend warriors from New York and Philly and the surrounding area coming out there and spending time in the mountain cabins, the ski resorts, the outlets, and candle shops. Believe it or not, there's a lot of candle shops up in the Pocono region of Pennsylvania, souvenir stores, that kind of thing. Well, at my relative's shop, he actually hand makes candles, and he dips the candles in a color scheme so that when he carves into the candle, it creates designs based upon the color of whatever he's highlighting. Because what he does is the candles that he makes and carves, he creates a little base at the bottom of the candle, and he will put on there an item, a thing. So for example, if you're a dog lover, he'll make a candle and put a little miniature dog on there. If you're a sports team fanatic, for football, for like say, he'll put a helmet of your favorite team, and he'll do the colors in the candle of your favorite team. If you're a hockey fan, he'll do pucks and so forth and so on. For baseball fans, he'll just do a logo, just like a little figurine logo of the player, sometimes a baseball cap, what have you. I actually commissioned him to do, for me, a Mike Schmidt candle. So I'm going to show it off for you and talk a little bit about it. I've shown this before. It's one of the most prized things in my possession. So these are the candles that my relative makes. Down here on the base, he would put something of the player, of the item that you're interested in, dogs, cats, animals, cars, matchbox, thousands of items he could do. I gave him this card in the middle. This is an actual Topps 206 mini card, a real card. I gave him, and I said, I want you to encase it in the candle. So it's like under a layer of wax, framed by this thing. And I had him do this in the powder blue burgundy colors of the Phillies that the Phillies have. And again, this is one of the most cherished possessions in my collection. Again, now I will say this before. I say this every time I show this. My relative, he does these candles, and if you want one, you can order one. So reach out to me and let me know. I'll give you his the contact information, and I'm telling you, he'll do one for your player. If you want to get a candle made, and you want to get your player a mini of your guy stuck into a candle like this, and have this on your shelf, that's the end all be all of sports collecting right there, as far as I'm concerned. So there you have it. That is my VR for Sammy Thunder, my oddball Mike Schmidt items. A lot to talk about. I know I'm going long, but I'm sure you appreciate it. It's also my VR for Brent Richards. Obviously, Mike Schmidt is my 500 home run club member that I like the best. So there you have it. That's all I have for you today. I am reminding everybody this week again to please put out a video for my 500 subscriber contest, my own 500 subscriber contest. That's up on Sunday. In the list below, in the description below, I put a list of everybody I know of to date who has made a video. And I'm going to do that every day this week in my videos. I'll update that list so that you know. And if you're not on the list, please, but you've made a video, please contact me by email. My email is always in the description below. So please contact me so I can get you on the list to go see your video, all right? Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe, commenting, and all that jazz. I really do appreciate your support as I try my best to support everybody else in this great card community, all right? Come back again the rest of the week. I got more great stuff for you. Take care.